Okay, we're going to continue on in our Father's Word today. This is Acts, chapter 7, verse 30. And we're going to talk about Moses a little bit today. Moses was the seventh generation after Abraham. 400 years. Israel had 400 years of slavery. They started out with 70 in Jacob's bunch. 70 people. And they ended up with about between 2 and 2.5 million people over there in Egypt, where they built two mud brick cities for the Egyptians over a 400-year period of slavery to the Egyptians. Now let's read about Moses. This is Acts chapter 7, verse 30. And when 40 years had passed, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire in a bush in the wilderness of Mount Sinai. And when Moses saw it, he marveled at the sight. And as he drew near to observe, the voice of the Lord came to him, saying, I am the God of your fathers, the fathers of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses trembled and dared not to look. Then the Lord said to him, Take your sandals off your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground. I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt, and I have heard the groaning, and have come down to deliver them. And now come, and I will send you to Egypt. This Moses whom they rejected, saying, Who made you a ruler and a judge, is the one God sent to be ruler and a deliverer by the hand of the angel who appeared to him in the bush. He brought them out after he had shown wonders and signs in the land of Egypt and in the Red Sea and in the wilderness for 40 years. 40 means probation, biblical numerics. This is that Moses who said to the children of Israel, The Lord your God will raise you up for you a prophet like me. From your brethren, him you shall hear. This is he who has a congregation in the wilderness with the angel who spoke to him on Mount Sinai, and with our fathers, the one who received the living oracles to give to us. Now Moses wrote the book of Genesis, the first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 32 is the great song of Moses, one of those songs that the elect will be singing when they're called before Satan in the synagogue of Satan during 666, and the songs of the Lamb. King David wrote Psalms 22 and Psalms 23. The crucifixion song in Psalms 22 and the resurrection psalm in Psalms 23. King David wrote those, and the elect will be singing those songs also. Now this is Acts 7, verse 39. Whom our fathers would not obey but rejected. And in their hearts they turned back to Egypt, saying to Aaron, Make us gods to go before us. As for this Moses, who brought us out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. And they made a calf in those days and offered sacrifices to the idol and rejoiced in the works of their own hands. Then God turned and gave them up to worship the host of heaven, as it is written in the book of the prophets. Now, Enoch was the first preacher God created, and God took Enoch up into heaven. Triangular shaped portals. These shaman, religious people, didn't have a written language, so they had to use rock art to remember the stories. And Enoch wrote about 200 fallen angels having sex with the daughters of Adam. They have little feet, look like a big fat bat, and a little head. And they hang upside down. Look like fat bats to me. According to the rock art, that's what they look like. And Satan sent those fallen angels in the time of Enoch, the first preacher, 7th generation after Adam. Moses was 7th generation after Abraham. Now, one of those two witnesses is going to be Elijah, and the other one is not written for sure if it'll be Enoch or Moses. Most likely, I think it'll be Moses. Matthew 17 talks about the Mount of Transfiguration, and Moses and Jesus and Elijah were seen on the Mount of Transfiguration. And so Satan sent the fallen angels to try to mess the bloodline of Christ up. But God sent the flood, and giants and men of renown, Genesis 6. Moses wrote Genesis about the fallen angels. And he talks about Enoch was taken by God. Genesis 5 tells us Enoch was taken. He's taken up into heaven. The book of Enoch tells us that Enoch was taken up into heaven and shown how heaven works. And then he was brought back to earth through those portals. Now, Elijah was taken with the whirlwind. Talks about God's space vehicle, the whirlwind. And God took Elijah in the whirlwind, and God came down and talked to Job in Job 38 in the whirlwind. Now, God judged Satan to the lake of fire, Ezekiel 28:18. Satan's going to the lake of fire. He's called the son of perdition. Perdition means you're going to the lake of fire and there's no other place for you to go, Satan. Question is all those souls that God created in the first earth age, are you going to go to the lake of fire and follow Satan? Revelation 12, verse 3 and 4. And the dragon used his tail to sweep 1/3 of God's stars. God's spiritual beings. God came back 14,000 years ago, and he found 1/3 of his children following Satan. There was a great cataclysm. Covered up Atlantis, Lemuria, all those cities around India. They're finding 400 or 500 feet deep off of Japan. Cities, ancient cities. God destroyed all that. Tuhu Avuhu means void and without form. God did not create earth void and without form. He made earth void and without form. And then on the 6th day after the Katabole, Satan's overthrow, 14,000 years ago, so 8,000 years ago, God created flesh man, the hunter-gatherers, and the fishermen, the Gentiles, the people with the O and the A blood, the black folk of Africa, the white cavemen of Europe, and the fishermen are the red-skinned people, the Oriental people, the people with the A blood. People with the O blood are the hunter-gatherers. And then on the 7th day, God rested. And then on the 8th day, God created the Jews, the farmers, the husbandmen, the tillers of the dirt, the descendants of Jesus. People with the B blood. Mother Mary had the B blood. King David had B blood, and so did King Solomon. So, Satan sent the fallen angels to the land of Canaan. Canaan was the son of Noah, Noah's wife, and his son Ham, called Uncovering Your Father's Nakedness. Noah's son Ham had sex with his mother, and Canaan was the result. Now, God sent Israel into the land of Canaan. Canaan got kicked out of the area that Noah was in a very young age,